Hello, my Teaserking family. What a happy day for us, huh? Well, silver 63.18. Nobody's going to short it. I got a couple videos to share, kind of explaining what I've already explained. And we'll look at football too. I did post, I think, 2 locks. Let's see, Eurolock, Eurolock, Eurolock. Eurolock, I believe. In Eurolock. I got 4 locks in the pros, but we'll get to that in a minute. Big news a lot of big news today. Silver, 63.13, up another $2.50. Gold, 42.53. By the way, we're not even looking at gold. We know that's going to 5,000. Now, I call $1,000 silver, and it might be here much quicker than we had thought or hoped. This is just huge news. Also, Britain is basically broke, and there's riots going on, and the farmers are striking, putting their big farm equipment in based on a new tax law, which we will get into, where they have to value their farms not on their income, on their value of the asset. So in other words, the farm's worth $3 million, but it only produces $50,000 worth of goods, because it's a lot of land that's worth things, but you're not selling the land, you're selling the crop. And the farmers can't afford it. The Starmer doesn't have long to live. He's the Prime Minister of the UK. He's an idiot. He's a George Soros guy. France is in big trouble. Basically, the West, as we know, Germany, France, England, UK, are all broke. By the way, so is Canada, and so is the US. All these, and Italy too, all these countries that use this and or use this are too stupid to realize these are have no value. They're worthless. And they keep spending because they have high pensions, because a lot of people, what happened was when World War II ended, there was a big celebration. We killed Hitler, and then so there was a lot of baby. That's what the baby boomers are. They had a lot of babies. Well, the babies are now 70 years old, right? This is 1945, and it's about 80 years right now. So the baby boomers are there. They're not working, and they want their retirement, pension, Social Security, whatever you want to call it, which they can't afford because they didn't keep it for them. In other words, I work, I pay Social Security. It should go into a professor account. And then when I reach retirement age, I should pull the account. I should pull the money. And you should have been giving me 5% a year. And I should pull about $800,000 out. And I can retire. But no, we don't do that. You put your money in and they steal it. Typical government. And so now I'm retired. I want my money, and you don't have it, or you have very little for me. You don't have what I should have. And you give me so much a month instead of just letting me take the option of buying it out. Gregor John, I'm fine. How are you today? So this is happening to all of Europe, who obviously fought in World War II, who didn't do the pensions and the Social Security properly, and then now they've taken that money and used it for defense, or used it for health care or whatever. Free health care is bullshit. There's no such. This is where the socialists and the Keynesians have problems. There's no such thing as free health care. You have to pay the doctors, the nurses, the hospitals, the equipment. It's not free. So just because you steal this money from people's pensions and 401ks and, when it was Social Security and call it free. It's not free. The money didn't come from thin air. And if you did print the money, you made your money worthless, which is the point and central theme of what's going on in silver now and everything else. Silver, they finally caught JP Morgan. JP Morgan stealing the silver and making it where they can't deliver. And from what I heard, they got like 169 million ounces they basically have stolen out of the vaults, which is 5,000 tons. So it's really not a lot when you look at it like that, because there's 500,000 tons. So they got 5,000 tons. It's not really a lot, but it is, for JP Morgan, it's a lot of money, but really it's not in the scheme of things. Andrew, good morning. Silver 50. No. It's silver 63. Silver 63, not 53, Andrew. 63.30. Yeah, there you go. Just huge. And look, it's up another 273. And gold's jumping. Now, my question is how come silver, you see gold's up $56. Why doesn't silver go up $56? Why does nickel dime up $2? So it's a little frustrating because silver should be going up $50. It's just going to keep going up. And I'll show you a video why. The miners are idiots. They don't understand Austrian economics, which is the problem with 99% of the world. Only we understand what's really happening thanks to Austrian economics. So in other words, they're worried that the price will go down. So the miners hedge. And as the price goes up, they don't want to buy because they can't do the hedge because now it's $60 to hedge as opposed to $20 to hedge. And the question is, why are you hedging? Well, the price might go down. No, the price will not go down, but they don't understand Austrian economics and supply and demand and what's happening in the marketplace. And they don't understand. The biggest thing they don't get is inflation. If they understood the dollar was worthless because of heavy, massive inflation and money printing, they wouldn't worry about the price of the silver going down. But because they don't understand it, what if it goes down? We'll lose money. Why hedge? You don't need to hedge. Buy it at 60, you're going to sell it at 80. It's going to go to 1,000. And at the rate we're going, it might go to 2,000. This is gone. This is not coming back. If you're shorting it, you're an idiot. If you're hedging it, you're an idiot. This is not something that should be hedged. This is not something that should be sold. As I say, you're not profit taking this. You're putting it in your little safe and you're just watching the elevator go up, watching the rocket go. You're not selling it because if you do, you're going to miss the $100 an ounce and the $500 an ounce. And that means you got to get back into this crap, which you don't want to do. So as long as you know this is crap, and it is, it's been printed to death, 150 trillion, thanks to the petrodollar and the FX, and these idiots printing, and nobody wants our treasuries because the dollar's not worth anything. Why would they want it? And everybody buying gold and bricks, you have this demand for gold and silver. Russia's buying the shit out of silver, as is China, as is India. Now, India uses it for jewelry also, but they also use it for that. But there's a couple of videos I'll show you. 63.55. You're telling me 44, it's already up. And guess what? It's 10 o'clock. And guess what? There's no 10 o'clock drop. You're not going to see that again, especially in silver. 63.50. What's today? December 11th. Let's call by New Year's. It'll be $80. Conservatively. Could be 100. The way this is going, it's just going. It's just simply a matter of this is a paper game, but we're dealing in physical. And there's a big shortage of physical. And this is a paper game. They're not supplying anymore. The people that made the silver aren't making it anymore because it's too expensive for them. They don't know what to do with the prices, so they stopped manufacturing it. So not that silver is going to be an issue, but they stopped manufacturing it. So this is just going to keep going. There's a shortage supply, but now here's the catch I told you about yesterday. Why are you in Bitcoin? Because it's 100,000. But why? Because it's going up. Because it's worth that much, it's going up. I'm buying. They don't understand why they're buying it. They don't understand that Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme and it's not real. They don't understand any of that. All they know is it's at 90,000 and it's going to go to 100 and it's going to go to 110. So I'm going to buy it because I know it's going to go up and I'm going to make money. They're in it to make money, but they don't know why. With silver, you're going to get those people. They're going to dump their Bitcoin because they're going, well, fuck, it's not going. I thought it was going to 1 million and I was going to be a millionaire. It was not. So because of that, now they see silver running. Why is silver going up? I don't know, but because it is, I'm going to buy it. And you're going to get a lot of people. Now they're going to make mistakes. They're going to buy ETFs instead of physical, which is critical. You do never buy ETFs because you don't get physical gold. And what's the point of having it worth more money? Because the money's worthless. So you do not want to be in ETFs. Andrew, yeah, 6344. There are over 60 million millionaires in the world. There are only 1 million people who own 250 to 1,000 ounces of silver. Well, count us in on one of the 1 million. After this class, there'll be a lot more than 1 million. It's more rare to own 250 to 1,000 ounces than it is to be a millionaire. 6366. Yep. Well, that's because they're ignorant, right? People are millionaires because they bought Bitcoin. They didn't know what they were doing. It happened to go up. But soon there'll be a lot less millionaires because when Bitcoin drops to 20,000, they're not going to be millionaires anymore. Then you have these idiots like Elon Musk, who's really not rich. He's rich in stock. It's his stock value, like Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's not rich. He just has a lot of shares of stock that are worth a lot. When they go to zero, he won't be a billionaire anymore. They don't know what they're doing, and they're really not smart people, and they really don't own the money. It's just in stock. So a lot of these millionaires and billionaires are because of stock, not like me and you who are working and being smart. But silver, there we go. Silver, highly demanded, very limited. And not only, I don't care about the industrial side of it. That's very small. What I care about is its money. And as you can see, it's worth $63. So whatever you want to call it, the ounce I paid $20 for is now worth 63, on its way to 1,000. The demand for the solar panels and military will be one thing, but it's the money that's really making it go. People need it. As I'll show you, JP Morgan stockpiled a lot, and so they kept it for those purposes. And they're not going to sell it cheap. So JP Morgan, the biggest crook in the world, again, he's with Madoff. He held that account for Madoff, and he knew what was going on. And when Madoff was going down, he said, you better sell it because we are I'm going to turn myself in. You better take your money. And JP Morgan took their money out of Madoff a week before he said, hey, I'm guilty of this thing. So just keep your mind that it's huge demand and very low supply in silver, and the supply is going lower and lower and lower because these mines are have to short it, they have to hedge it, and they're not going to do it. It's too expensive. So there's even less supply coming out because the miners are clueless. I'll show you that they're clueless. Well, what if the price goes down? Well, then you're an idiot. The price won't go down. It can't go down because of the huge demand and low supply. And if you're not going to make it, no big deal. There's a lot of silver out there, but it's just the demand in the market is going to raise the price. That's all you need to understand. And if you understand that, you understand economics. And why? Because the dollar's worthless. So the dollar being worthless is like the Titanic hitting the iceberg, right? You're going to sink. The water's coming in. You need a lifeboat. The dollar being printed to death is the iceberg. The dollar is sinking, and nothing's going to stop it but gold. But we're not using gold, which then takes you to the lifeboat, gold and silver. So why would silver go down? There's no reason, because you can't fix the dollar. The only way you can fix it is you back it by gold and silver, which they're not doing, because BRICS has all the gold. We would have bought it now. We would have said, hey, look at our vault in Fort Knox. It's 8,000 tons. Look, here it is. But they don't do it because they don't have it. It's not ours. It's Chinese. So you got China's gold in Fort Knox, and the silver, you don't have any because you're too stupid to understand silver's money. And you keep saying, well, we got the petrodollar. Well, we're the reserve currency. Big fucking deal. So you think because you're the reserve currency that there's demand for your currency, I guess, but you've made too much supply, and a lot of the countries are getting away from the demand. All the BRICS countries, Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia specifically, are getting away from the dollar. So you might have the reserve currency, but your demand's falling because nobody wants it. We want gold. We want to deal with China and Russia because that's the future. We don't want to be blackmailed by the U.S. and have regime changes and everything else. So we don't want to fuck with that. We're just going to play with China and Russia and BRICS. Everybody's joining BRICS and everybody's going gold. And I don't need it. The best way out of it is to buy gold and silver. Then you're not dependent on the government and they can't control you. That's what they like to do, is control you. Oh, you want your Social Security? We'll do 5 handstands and run 10 miles and we'll give it to you. I want it because it's mine, because I paid into it because I had no choice. Silver equals national defense. Well, they do use silver in the Tomahawks and probably a few other missiles. I agree with that. And apparently there's very little substitutes you can have for silver, gold being one of them, but gold's even more expensive. So 63.18 I got on silver. It's taking, there's no shorting. I don't know why, but we're very happy to see in the 63s on its way to 70. And you shouldn't see a pullback. I mean, it's not like going to go back to 50. I mean, it's 63. You might get a little pullback. I don't know why. There's no profit. Profit taking would not lower the price. The only thing that creates this price on the 63 that we're looking at is options. This is a paper price based on options on COMEX. This is not a physical price. So if everybody sold their silver now, the price would still be 63.18. It wouldn't go down. It only goes down if they do options. But if they do options, the Chinese are sitting there going, we're going to take delivery. We will go buy your option and we want the silver and gold. We want to take delivery, which means you need physical, which you don't have. So I don't know why anybody in their right mind is shorting this or lowering the price. This should just be going boom. Anyway, happy times for us because we're smart. I bought, when I was baseball card collecting, they came out with Highland Mint coins, and I like coins. So Emmitt Smith and Dan Marino and Joe Montana and Barry Sanders and Jordan and Kobe, and I got a bunch of that. It was $16. I think the coin cost me $20. The silver was $16 or something. So I've been buying silver at $16. And then lately at $22, $25 when I was in Alabama. And so that's like 5 years ago. And now it's just strictly, I just watch the elevator go up now. I mean, I buy a little, but I'm in at 20 and there's no income averaging. I hate that. People don't understand. These are not stocks. These are gold and silver. This is money. This is like buying a Montana card. It is not a stock. You do not profit take this. So people say you can income average. Well, you bought it at 20, and then you bought it at 50, and then it went down to 45. I'll buy it in income average, so it cost me 47. They're delusional. That is 1,000% wrong. Okay, you do not income average this. This is buy 100 ounces, buy another 100 ounces, buy another 100 ounces. I know Luke's pretty happy. He's got 5 boxes of this. Those big boxes, 500 ounces in a box. So Luke's ready to retire. Luke, you got your money for your house now. There you go. So it's just, you do not income average. This is about building your inventory. This is about buying more and more and more and more and holding. You never have enough because this is going to keep going up. This game is get out of the dollar. That's the game we're playing right now. Get out of the dollar, buy the gold and silver as much as you can, with as much to get out of as much dollars as you can. Leave a little bit for your expenses so you don't have to sell the gold and silver to pay your rent or your groceries. So you keep some money for that. But basically, you're just simply trying to build your inventory because you're in the best thing. Gold and silver, very limited, and now the demand is huge because of BRICS. And as the dollar goes away, that's it. There's nothing else. And now COMEX is broken because China and Russia said, I want a delivery. I want my silver and gold delivered, which COMEX doesn't have. And now who's going to set the price? China and Russia will set the price, and they have tons and tons and tons of gold and silver, probably maybe 10,000 to 20,000 tons. I'm sure China has it. China's got 80,000 tons of gold. I'm sure they have 20,000 tons of silver at least, as does Russia, as does India and Saudi Arabia. Well, if I got 20,000 tons, I want that price for 2 reasons to go up. I want it at $1,000. Why? 1, because I own it, and now I'm worth a hell of a lot more. 2, you don't own it, and you're not going to be able to make these defense weapons and the tomahawks because silver will be too expensive for you. And I don't want you getting it, so I'm going to make it very expensive so you can't use it as an industrial metal, and you don't have it as a dollar. So there's a double reason China and Russia want a high price. And we understand that. So we just sit back, light our cigars, sit on the beach, have a blonde, and go, that's pretty nice. It's up again. It's up again. We just keep sitting there, and gold I see is going 42.55, silver 63.34, and it's just going to keep going. There's no, it's going to pull back. This is not a pullback market. This is not a stock that went from 100 to 200, but the value of the company is 125. So then you're going to get selling because everybody's running in, but it's not worth what they're paying for it. So in other words, if you do a Tesla and you look at the book value and it's worth maybe $75 a share, but it goes up to 300, well, there's a problem. It's not worth 300. So you got to dump it because it's only worth 75. And the way it's going, it's probably worth 25 because nobody wants an electric car. Great decision to make something nobody wants, right? But in gold and silver, the value is not 63. Now it's 63.42, but that's not the value. The value of silver is here. Here's 63.42. What is this value? We don't even know what it is. In other words, what will people pay for it? We don't know what people will pay for it. However, we know it's up here. We know COMEX is 63.42 right now. So we know COMEX is here, and we know the real value, what people will pay for it, is up here. And the biggest reason is since this is worthless, as is this, because they're worthless. All right, you got $1 million, but your money's worthless. What do you do with it? I better get the fuck out of it. What do I get into? Well, maybe I'll go into Swiss francs, British pounds. Maybe I go into yuan or Chinese or yen or Russia. No, their dollars are all going down too. The only lifeboat is gold and silver. So I'm either going to lose my million or I'm going to Rumpelstiltskin it and trade it for gold and silver, turn it into gold. And that's what they're doing. So therefore, it doesn't matter what the price is. I don't have a choice. I'm going to lose $1 million because it's worthless. So I don't care what this price is for gold and silver. I have to get out of my money and get as much gold and silver as I can. And that's what's happening. So they gotta liquidate their dollars and they gotta get into gold and silver. The trick that people don't get is that they don't realize the dollar's worthless, the euro is worthless, the British pound's worthless. They don't get that. And they're still being blinded. It's like a magician. He's showing you the woman cut in half, but really she's not in there. And so she's going to be fine, but you're caught in the trick. And your trick is you think the dollar has value, or the euro, or Britain is collapsing as we speak, and they want Starmer out, and the king came out, and everybody just laughed at him, rolling their eyes, going, "Yeah, right, you're going to do something." Starmer's put in by George Soros, and that's our problem, is George Soros wanting the world to crumble because he's a Nazi and the Nazis lost. So he wants revenge, basically. And now he's in America, and Biden gave him a medal. Like, are you kidding me? You just gave a medal to Hitler? Yeah, okay. That shows you how fucked the U.S. is, right? We're totally fucked. We're a bunch of idiots here. Fortunately, there was a reason that I got my master's and had to take economics and found Austrian economics. There's a reason for that, and this is the reason, to teach everybody here. And that's what's going on. So people don't know it. People don't know their dollar's worthless. They just assume that. All these cars, are you in GM, Ford? Are you in a car company? Are you in a car parts company stock? Get the fuck out. There's millions of cars that can't be sold because the price is too high, because the idiots running the companies thinks, well, I got to raise prices. It's just like Vegas. I got to raise prices to pay my rent. Well, that's not how you get more money. You get less money. It's like the movie trick. Well, I'm running a movie theater, and tickets are $5, and I'm full, and I'm selling my candy and my pop and my popcorn. Let's raise it to $20 a ticket. And then you don't get anybody in because they can't afford $20 a ticket, or they're used to paying $5. And then you lose all the pop and popcorn and candy sales. So you lose all the peripheral, and you think you're going to make more money selling the ticket at 20 because you think if you got 1,000 people at 5, you'll get 1,000 people at 20. Well, it doesn't work. No. You'll get like 5 people at 20. So 1,000 people at 5 and the popcorn, pop, and candy, or $20 for a ticket, no pop, no popcorn, no candy. And instead of 100 people, you get maybe 10. Yeah, that was a great move. And that's what Vegas is doing. They're raising all their prices, and nobody's coming. So the multiplication of price times quantity equals total revenue. And you raise your price, your quantity goes down. And then you don't get the food, the drinks, the parking, the resort fees, the shopping goes away. All the peripheral things go to zero, where you made a lot of money. Because that's what the mafia, they understood that. $5. Why do you think it was a $5 steak and lobster at midnight? It was to get you to come in and gamble. Now they force you out. Well, how much is a hamburger? $30? I'm going to go to the CVS across the street, and I get a tuna sandwich and a salad, or honeydew, and it's $2, right? So the people are a bunch of Keynesians who are clueless, and Keynesians don't work. Keynesians never work. Their economics is terrible. They missed the whole point. Again, you want to keep it. If you're $5 with 100 people, that's 5. Let's say it's 500. You raise it to 20. You need to get 500, but you're missing. You want more people in to buy the candy, pop, and popcorn, or you want more people at Vegas to pay to eat, drink, and lose their money gambling. It's a casino. You don't want people coming for the nightclubs or coming for the Sphere or whatever, because they don't gamble. And your casino lays empty, and then they don't drink, and they don't eat, and they don't buy souvenirs, it's just fucking ridiculous. So this is what you have here. So your protection is gold and silver. You can see it's running because they're out. There is no more. Nobody is shorting it because this is a paper market still about to be blown up. So we will get back to this. I just wanted to hit that because I'm very excited. The $63 silver. Don't be surprised when next week it's 75. And don't be surprised by Christmas and it's $100. We'll wake up Christmas morning to $100 silver and 4,500 gold. I'm waiting for silver, like I said, instead of going up 50 cents and $1, when it starts going up $10, $20. I really don't understand why it's in pennies and nickels and dimes instead of dollars. But once silver starts going and we see $10, $20 days, so you've got 1,000 ounces because it was cheap and you could afford 1,000 ounces at $25 an ounce. Well, when that starts going up, like now, I get $1, I make $1,000. All right, nice, but in gold, it goes up $100 and I make $10,000 when it goes up 100, and that's what I want in silver. So once silver starts going up $10 a day, then I'm making 100,000 on 1,000 ounces times 10. So you get a bigger bang for your buck on silver because we have a lot more ounces. I couldn't buy 1,000 ounces of gold. I mean, it's just too expensive. Silver was $25. Yeah, I could easily buy that. Now, I would not sell my gold for silver. Silver will go up. I would just keep buying more silver. But you don't want to sell your gold. Gold's about to hit the moon also. Because as silver goes, gold goes, because you get all these Bitcoin people who I'm in it because it's going up. I don't know why. I'm stupid, but I'm buying it because it's worth a lot. And once they smell gold and silver going up, they're going to go, oh, well, this is going to go up. But the difference is this is real. I can see it and I can hold it, and this is real. Bitcoin, yeah, I can't see it. I can't hold it. I don't know what it is. I don't even know that it's real. It's probably a Ponzi scheme. So probably I don't want to hold that because I don't even know what it is. I can't see it. I can see this, and it's pretty, and it's indestructible, and I have it. So that's the difference. I have the physical, and that's the point. And that's what you need to buy. Forget ETFs and forget stocks and forget paper gold. You only want physical. And if you have physical, yeah, the rocket's going up for physical. And this isn't even physical. When Andrew's saying 63.44, that's paper silver. That is not physical silver. For some reason, the market, if you go to the store, is going to sell it to you at 63.44, and I'll give you a $2 premium. He'll sell it to you at 65.44. But this is not the physical price. 63.44 is the paper price. This is the ace in the hole. You think this is the physical price. It's not. It's just what these idiots are willing to sell it for because they don't know what's going on. So you go to the store, they just see 63.44. That's the price of silver. They're not even close. That's the paper price of silver. And there's millions and millions of ounces in the contracts to get to 63.44, not in the physical world. The physical world we live in, there's very little left. And of it, it is not 63.44. I conservatively say 10 times more. So that would put it at $634. And I'm very conservative on that number. So do you want to buy $634 gold silver for $63? Where's the line? And that's why they're buying, JP Morgan's buying tons of it. I mean, they're the biggest crooks in the world. But that's why they're buying it, because they know the dollar's worthless. They know this is a paper price. It's been controlled and suppressed for years, since 1972 or 3, whenever COMEX started. This is not the physical price. So you have no idea that you think 63.44 is the physical price. It's not. This is the paper option price. It might be 20 times more. I'm conservatively saying 10, but that's why when I see these people forecast it, well, it'll be $85. That's the paper price. People looking at chart. Ignore people with charts. Okay. They're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They don't understand variables, which is COMEX and which is bricks buying the shit out of it. And they don't know physical. So they're giving you Michael Oliver gives you an $85 silver price. Da, 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 da. Well, first of all, the best it can be is paper. Why are you talking paper? Do you even know there's a difference between paper and physical? Do you think physical is the same price as paper? If you think that, you're an idiot. So we know that I don't care what Michael Oliver said or any of these Peter Schiffs or Jim Rickards or Maloney's or any of these idiots. They're looking at charts that are for paper. They haven't even connected the dots that we're talking physical, and it's at least 10 times, probably more. Could be 20, could be 30 times. Again, as the demand is shifting, and it's not because it's industrial metal, it's because it's money and the dollar is worthless is why it goes. And that's really the key to it. So once you understand that this is not a paper, this is a paper price, not a physical. And there's a lot less physical, which means that the supply is a lot less than they're leading on here. And the demand is still huge. Once you realize that, you get out of the ETFs because you realize they don't have any gold for you or silver. You're not getting your physical out of it. And the stocks are useless because the market's about to crash, because the economy is about to crash, because the dollar is worthless. And the only boat that's still going to be around, the lifeboat, is going to be gold and silver. And that is the bottom line, because Stone Cold is going to tell you that. All right, we will get back to this. Britain is basically bankrupt, and they are having not riots there, but there's all the farmers have that. Quick look before we leave for a little bit. 42.58, 63.56. Yeah, it's up $3 today, and in our minds we're going, why isn't it at 65? Why isn't it at 70? I mean, I'm excited, but I'm like going, yeah, I'll be more excited when I see 100. Again, if you don't have it, buy more. If you have money to spend, then I would go buy these little, tenth of an ounce, quarter ounce, if you can't afford the full ounce gold, and go buy a bunch of silver at this cheap price. This is still cheap. This is not, you haven't missed the boat. The boat's at 1,000 waiting for you because it's a physical boat. This is a paper boat, and it's very cheap. So go buy more. It's funny. I used to not go play poker because I said, well, I don't want to lose the 300, and I'd go buy $30 an ounce silver, so I could go buy 10 ounces of silver that I know it's now went from 30 to 63, versus playing poker where I could lose. I could get my aces cracked by a set of sevens, so I had more risk. But that's where I was with it. And now it's 60. Now I'd only be able to buy for 300, 5 ounces. And that's the crazy part about what's going on now. It's 5 ounces instead of the 10. So it's crazy, but that's what happens. And it's really weird is you don't realize you've just made a bunch of money, right? So you got 1,000 ounces. It's up $3 today. You've just made $300, but you don't realize it because you're sitting there. You made $300. Right. Every dollar, because they're dollars, right? They're not $10 yet. And so you don't realize it. So every time you make more and more money, but you still have your 1,000 ounces of silver, and you go, and you don't realize it's worth a lot more. So keep a spreadsheet. And then I did one for the year, and it was at $30 in January, and now it's 63. So I've doubled my money. And I do it with gold. I've made like $1,600. It was $2,700 in January. Now it's $4,300, I'll call it. So I made $1,600 per ounce on that. And, but I still have the same 100 ounces of gold that you don't realize. It's still 100. It's still 100 here. It doesn't multiply in your safe. It's just still 100. And so now but it's worth more. And that's what you got to realize. But you don't want to spend it. I might sell 1 or 2 ounces of gold, but I'm waiting until I see a 10,000 if I need to sell it and help the girls or something. And I keep saying I'm not selling it yet, but we're watching it go up. And that's the key. So that's the whole point of it. And we will see. Anyway, let's talk a little football. And then we're going to talk about the college playoff. That's a fiasco. All right, so tonight we've got Atlanta and Tampa. Thursday night, I've got Tampa 4.5, 5 and 44. Atlanta W team with Kirk Cousins, a 28 defense, and Tampa Bay's a W team with a 31 defense. Now I believe they get Mike Evans back tonight. They got the running back last week. They lost to New Orleans. I mean, but it was a fluke because they had him sacked. Tyler Shaw, I mean, it's not like he threw to beat him. They had him sacked. He escapes, runs for a touchdown twice, and they lose the game. Their offense isn't scoring Tampa Bay. But New Orleans does not have that bad of a defense. So Atlanta with the 20, looks like a 29 defense, 31 on Tampa. Cousins against the Baker. I have no trends on this. Tampa used to have a trend, but they've been losing lately. I have no faith in Tampa. They need the game, but I don't have faith in them. Atlanta, Kirk Cousins could get hot. I don't know. I would think Tampa wins, and we'll look at weather when we're done with looking at the line, but I have no teaser trends on this. So I'm not playing this game. So I know the people buy today from me. We're not playing this. Arizona, Houston. Houston is 9.5 and 43. Arizona's a Z team. They're not scoring, a 34 defense. You'd think they have a good defense. No, they don't. And so it's in 43, 34 defense in Brissett, where Houston is a B team with looks like a 17 or an 18 defense. CJ Stroud, who's not very good, but okay. Play against Arizona this year, 12-1. These are the teaser trends. Houston, 29-3 the last 2 years in a teaser, 13-2 at home, 13-0 this year in a teaser, 9-1 as a home favorite. So they play well as a favorite at home. They play very well at home, 13-2, 6-0 this year. And Arizona's they're a play against team. So I was able to get Houston at 9 yesterday. It's 9.5. Try to get it 3.5, but I wouldn't worry about going over 3. The way Houston's playing, and it's beautiful as Houston needs the game. They're 8-5, but really they're not an 8-5 team, but they've had a hard schedule. So they're 8-5, but they're playing red hot. They beat Kansas City last week. I can't imagine them losing. I can't imagine them flat. Because they're a game behind Jacksonville for the lead in the division, and it's going to be hard for them to be a wild card. So therefore, they need the game. There's no reason they won't. And the thing with defense, you get a quarterback, he throws interceptions, right? That happened last week. I can't remember the game, but the quarterback threw 2 interceptions. Actually, it was Joe Burrow threw 2 interceptions, but we had the game over. In this case, if you come with a loaded defense, it doesn't matter. Like Ohio State, Indiana, you're not scoring. They just shut it down, and you couldn't score. And that's what Houston does. You can't score on them. So you can withstand an interception, but hopefully you get enough points and win 24-0. I mean, Brissett's not going to do much against them, and it's just a very strong defense that puts a lot of pressure on you. So there you go, Houston. The free pick is Denver as a home dog to Green Bay, which we'll get to. Jacksonville gets the JETSs. Jacksonville is 13.5 now. And 41.5. And that really makes it hard to bet Jacksonville's not a blowout team, but they've been running more and not letting uh, Trevor Lawrence lose the games for him. So they're kind of keeping it out of his hands. I noticed the Bears do that with Caleb. They kind of run the ball more so he can't beat them, throwing his interceptions and running around in circles and trying to avoid the rush. So they're running more. The Jets are a Z team with a 30 defense, but they got Tyrod Taylor, who's much better than Fields. And Jacksonville's an A team now with an 18 defense. So they're playing well defensively. I don't know if it's because they're running more, but when you watch highlights of these past games on YouTube of Jacksonville, it's a lot of running. It's a lot of Etienne, the Clemson running back, and some others, and Trevor Lawrence running, but not Trevor Lawrence passing. So they're playing to the strength, which is their run game and keeping the ball away from Trevor Lawrence. The Jets don't really pose much problem with the 32 defense. And we will see, but it's hard to lay 13.5. Jacksonville theoretically doesn't need the game. They're in first place in their league. Now they're a game up on Houston, but it's different when you need the game, and they just played Indy. So I think Jacksonville wins. It's a tough 7.5. It's a very tough number. Again, they only care if they win by 3 or 1. They don't need to win by 2 touchdowns. This isn't college. The Jets with Taylor, they're a Z team. I don't, they're going to come and play. They got a good coach, good defense. So look for this to be tougher. The Jets are 6-1 on the road. Jacksonville play against the Jets as a road dog is 6-1. Jacksonville is 11-1 in a teaser this year. Play against the Jets is 11-2 this year and 26-4 over 2 years. So it's definitely a Jacksonville thing, but you got to be careful. 13.5 over 7, not in the NFL, very difficult. Maybe you go total, and total it's 42. Maybe you go under, maybe you go over. It's a tough one because it's hard to. Jacksonville should run the ball, play defense. The Jets, probably a decent defense, not a lot of offense. Maybe it's an under. I don't, I always, when I can't play the game because it's 13.5, I ain't laying 7.5. It's either take the 19.5 if we trust the JETSs or try to figure out the total in the game. All right. Philadelphia and Oakland. Philadelphia is up to 11-38. Oakland is going with not Geno Smith. They are going with Kenny Pickett. So it's Kenny Pickett, who was on Philadelphia last year, is going to start for Geno Smith, who's shaken up against Hurts. Oakland was already a Z team with the 25 defense with Geno Smith, is now like a double Z. Philadelphia, an under team with an 18 defense. Play against Oakland is 12 play against Philly is a home favorite this year, 5-1. Play against Oakland this year is 12-1. Play against Philly this year is 11-2. And the Philly has lost the last 3. Talk about backs against the wall. Even though they still have a 2-game lead on Dallas, Philly's lost 3 in a row. Philly's in deep doo-doo. So they're an under team with an 18. Jalen Hurts just stinks. Look for them to run the ball in Oakland and, try to get it. I think it's a shutout with Pickett, who's terrible. And, I don't know. You can take Philly -5. They're going to win by 20. They have to win. They've lost 3 in a row, and I just think they're going to get righted. And here comes Oakland with Pickett. It's the perfect storm. We're 3-0. We need a weak team. Oh, here comes Oakland. Okay, thank you. So they need a Z team. Now, I'd rather bet Philly at 11 than Jacksonville at 13.5, right? The Jets and Oakland, what's the difference? They both suck. But I only have to win by 5. So it's a little bit easier. With Philly, you can go total of 39. So you can, I would suggest probably an under there. I don't know what I did. What did I do with this? I did play this game. What did I do? How did I play it? Okay. All right. I know how I played it. Okay. I played it the way I thought I was going to play it. And that way is I picked on Kenny Pickett. That's how I played it. I love getting these calls when I get these calls. Oh, my timeshare's up. I don't have a timeshare. Some other things. I don't have these things. What the hell are they talking about? All right. So Philly, I think there's two ways to play the game. You can play total, and you can probably lay 5 against Kenny Pickett, and I'm going to say 24-0 Philly. I'm gonna pencil that in for you. 24-0. I honestly don't think Oakland can score with Pickett, and I think Phillies are struggling offensively to light it up. But again, see, here's where people, well, I don't know how to bet the game. I'm not going to bet it because it's Pickett, and you're missing a golden opportunity. You got a great defensive team playing a quarterback that shouldn't be in the pros, shouldn't be in college. He sucks. They're not going to score. Well, now it makes it a total game as opposed. So that's a very good play in the total. All right, Washington and the Giants. The Giants 2.5, 47. And our man Daniels is out. I don't know, he hurt his elbow or something, and he's not playing. So he's out. He's out for the rest of the year. You got Mariota, who can score. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a high scoring game and Washington plus the 8 covers. We will see. But I think it'll be high scoring, even though Washington's a Z team and the Giants are a W team. Buffalo, New England. Buffalo 1-49. Buffalo is 2 games back in New England, and they've lost to them once, so they have to win. This is a must-win game for Buffalo. They are an over team with the 24 defense, and Josh Allen versus New England is an A team with a 19 defense, and Drake May, and yet, why is Buffalo favored? I don't really understand this. What are they doing making Buffalo favored? It doesn't make sense because New England's clearly a better team, and the game's in New England. New England should be a 3-point favorite. So again, don't understand. It's a strange line. It makes no sense. Now, I looked at the weather, and it's warm enough. It's about 30 degrees there. The weather games to worry about are the Bears in Cleveland, and then the Cincinnati-Baltimore game. It's 12 fucking degrees there. So where I wanted to lock the over, I don't know if I can, because Joe Burrow is going to light up Baltimore, and Lamar should light up Cincinnati's defense. Cincinnati's the perfect over team. Joe Burrow scoring 30, and they'll give up 30. However, I don't know how the 12 degrees is going to affect them, so I'm not sure. Is it that important? Now, last week, I did play Cincinnati Buffalo over, and it got to 80, and it was snowing, and it was like 25 degrees. This is 12. I mean, at what point is it hard to catch the ball and throw the ball? right? I mean, it's just to light it up. Now I go back to the ice ball in 60, 68, 67, and they played I think it was what was the final? 21-17. I think Green Bay won on the quarterback sneak. They still scored 38 points in 16 below weather. So it does happen. You do find the plays. So we will see. So again, I don't know. The weather here is fine. Probably upper 20s or 30s, which we can see is fine. Again, though, it's a strange. You got Buffalo. That I don't have. The only teaser trend I have is New England's 12-1 in a teaser. Buffalo is normally a strong home team and not a very strong road team, as we saw losing at Miami and at Atlanta. But because this is for first place, they're not going to be like they played against Miami, where they just didn't show up and they lost to New England. So this is it. This is New England. This is them proving they belong, or Buffalo saying, no, we're not done yet. So this will be a great game. I'm going to play the total here. I think it'll be high scoring because that's who Buffalo is. Josh Allen running and throwing for 5 touchdowns in New England. Drake May, who looks like he can throw it better. He looks better, and we'll see what he's doing. So must win for Buffalo. San Diego, KC. KC 5.5, 41.5. Again, Herbert with the broken left hand, but he played and he ran a lot. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Your handicap is Harbaugh. He's a terrible coach. Both teams are under. San Diego with the 20 defense, KC with the 24. Herbert against Mahomes. KC 13-2 is a home favorite. San Diego used to be a strong road dog, but I don't know where that went. Now they could be like 10-3, but I don't record that unless it's like 85%. So 13-2, I'll record with KC. San Diego on the first game. KC's do or die. They're 6-7. The Rams, the Chargers are 9-4. They have to win to catch them. San Diego coming off the Monday nighter with Philly. I think KC will win the game, and that's why the line's going to 5.5. You got Mahomes in a do or die, and you got to bet on. That's why you bet on Mahomes. Total of 42. Yeah, I mean you're looking at the defenses. KC's got a great defense with Spagnuolo. So look at that. I don't know if KC will run the ball more, but San Diego's got a very good defense. So we will see. But they're not KC. Neither team's really scoring a lot. We saw the San Diego Philadelphia game. It's probably be very similar to that. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Baltimore 2.5, down from 3, 51.5. Keeping my eye on the total because of the weather, seeing how that goes. Love Joe Burrow as a home dog. I mean, what else can you say? Baltimore's an under team with the 21. Lamar can't hit the broadside of a barn. And now that Joe Burrow is back there, an over team with the 33 defense. Play against Cincinnati is 11-2. Take Baltimore is 12-2 as a road favorite. Cincinnati 4-0 as a home dog. So this year against Cincinnati, but a lot of them games didn't have Joe Burrow. Like last week, you play against them, you won with Buffalo, but you still won with Cincinnati. So they're good. They're a decent home dog, 4-0. They got Joe Burrow back. They need the game. Again, they're 2 games back of Baltimore. So they win this, they're a game back. Pitt isn't that good, and I think they got to play Pitt again. So Cincinnati, they mathematically can go 8-9, which will win the division mathematically if Pitt doesn't win, plays like shit. And if they beat Baltimore, they'll beat Baltimore twice. So they tie Baltimore, they get the tiebreaker. So I think Cincinnati's a live dog here. Baltimore, I don't know what they are. I mean, him and Hurts need to find a new league. I mean, they need USFL, Canadian. No offense to those leagues, but I don't see how you can bet on Lamar here. He's terrible. Okay, maybe he's injured, but he's not even throwing the ball. I mean, he looks like he's in a daze, or the mafia has him and he can't even complete passes because it's a fixed game. So I don't know what you got, but I don't mind taking Joe Burrow. Now the key is uh, Joe Burrow is the temperature. This is a over game with this is an over game. Which photo? Hmm. 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 This second. I keep getting my camera fucked. Um, anyway, so look for Cincy to play. You got Burrow. Look for points, and they got a bad defense. So I mean, again, Lamar should be able to score. They played a 27-22 with Pittsburgh, so we'll look at the weather and keep an eye on it. Cleveland, Chicago 7.5, 39. Cleveland, an under team with Prime Jr., who is terrible, goes against Chicago, an E team with a 21 defense, and Caleb. The Bears are 11-2 in a teaser, 5-0 at home. Play against Cleveland as a road dog is 11-2. So this is definitely a Chicago play. They're running the ball, keeping it out of Caleb's hands. Cleveland's strength is the pass rush because of Myles Garrett. Anyway, sorry about that. All right, sorry about that. So the Bears must win. They're a game behind Green Bay. Sorry about that. I was just talking to Daria. Um, so you have you have the Bears needing it. They run a lot. They were able to beat Philly, and they almost beat Green Bay. So you have that going where they play these good defense as well. Cleveland, Myles Garrett's more rushing the passer. They should be able to run. If they ran on Micah Parsons and they ran on Jalen Carter, I'm not worried about them running too much on Myles Garrett, who's more of a pass rusher. And that's kind of um, where I see it. So the Bears at home, it's 15 degrees there. Who knows with the wind chill? But it's Bears. Well, they're both used to the cold weather, so it's not just like when they played in Green Bay last week. The cold weather didn't really bother them. I think the key will be Prime Junior. Not knowing what he's doing out there, the Bears have good deal. They'll pick him at least 3 times, I think. Indy goes to Seattle. Seattle 13.5, 42.5. Is it going to be Riley Leonard or Phillip fucking Rivers, who hasn't played in 5 years? I can't imagine they're going to go with Phillip Rivers in this game, but Riley Leonard is not good. Their best quarterback is Bean, the guy from Kansas, who should be their starter over Daniel Jones. Beans was great at Kansas, and I really don't know why they're not using him. I don't know why he's not ready. I mean, you can't say that Daniel Jones is ready. He's terrible. Indy's a W team with a 26 defense, so they've gotten worse. They're not scoring as much. Everybody's keying on Taylor, and their defense is falling apart. Seattle, A team, 15 defense. Darnell, this should be a good game for him. He's playing a weaker team, and they are 11-2 in a teaser. So 13.5 and 42.5. What do you do with this game? Well, you take advantage of the quarterback being out. So Riley Leonard isn't going to beat him. Rivers he won't even know who the center and the guard are. Seattle, very strong defense. Darnell's decent. They'll win. I don't. I'm playing the total on the game again. You've got 13.5. At 8 or 7, it'd be a lock, lay the 2. But at 13.5, you just can't lay the 7.5, even though it'll probably win by 20 like they did against Minnesota. Seattle's getting lucky. They're getting these quarterbacks who've never played before. So either Leonard or Rivers, they'll eat them up. Very strong defense on Seattle. I look for another shutout here. Tennessee goes to the Niners. The Niners, 12.5, 44.5. To Tennessee. Tennessee, a Z team, 26 defense. Cam Ward, what's he doing? Talk about a guy like they're worried about Riley Leonard not being ready. Cam Ward is not ready. Caleb is not ready. Half these quarterbacks are not ready, right? Kenny Pickett, he's not ready. The Niners, an A team with a 21 defense. So Tennessee is Z with the 26. The Z just means they score like 15 a game. Frisco, a team with 21, and especially with Brock Purdy back. Play against Tennessee this year is 11-2, and the Niners are kind of mixed, but they're starting to play better. The Niners must win. They're a game behind both the Rams and Seattle. They split with the Rams, and I think they obviously have another game with Seattle. The Niners should take care of business at home. Do you want to lay 6? I don't know. See, what gets you is then Tennessee last week beat Cleveland in that good defense, 31-29. And so you're kind of going, what do I do with it? Myles Garrett didn't stop them. And so I'm thinking maybe it's a total game. Am I a little scared of -6 if Tennessee found an offense? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. The Niners, decent defense, but it's not a Philadelphia or Kansas City or Seattle defense. So that's where you're at. You could easily get backdoored by Tennessee here, 20-14, and you're fucked on the points. So we'll see there. I'm still figuring it, but Tennessee just doesn't score a lot. However, what happened in the Cleveland game? In the cold, they did fine. Carolina at New Orleans. Carolina 2.5, 40.5. Carolina, I mean, they seem to be a little bit better on defense, and they seem to be running the ball, not letting Steve Young throw the interceptions. New Orleans, I don't know. They beat fucking Tampa in a must-win game for Tampa. I don't know. I got them as an under team with the 21 defense. Young versus Shaw. Um, I got play against New Orleans 10-2 this year, and that includes the game last week where you lost betting against them. And that was one of the reasons I bet against them, is they were 10-1 bet against. Maybe they're getting better. Shaw, he was going to get sacked twice. He ran out of it and scored touchdowns on it. So it's not like he ran, and it's not like he threw for anything. He was just getting out of the sack. So I don't know, but I can't bet Carolina as a road favorite. No, and New Orleans beat Tampa. They could easily win this game. Total of 40. I don't know. They're both under teams, so neither of them really score a lot. I think New Orleans' defense is pretty good. They did hold Tampa down, so maybe this is a total bet. I'm not sure. Detroit, LA. LA is 655.5. Detroit, both their safeties are out, Branch and Joseph. They still have offensive line issues. They beat Dallas. Dak threw his 2 interceptions for us. It's a do or die game for the Lions, but the Rams needed 2. And the matchup favors the Rams. How are they going to stop Puka and Devontae Adams with that secondary? And Hutchinson looks like shit. He's putting no pressure on him. So Stafford's going to have time. The Lions will blitz, but Rams can run the ball and short passing. And Puka who's going to stop him? So I see this game as, I see this game high scoring. As I said, 40-32. I just see they're not stopping the Rams. Now, they did light up Arizona with Budda Baker, who's better than anything the Lions have. And the Lions aren't at home. They're a little bit better at home. You get them on the road. Play against Detroit as a road dog, 8-1. The Rams are 11-2 in a teaser, 27-5 in a teaser the last 2 years, 13-3 at home, and 42-8 overall the last 3 years. So you're looking at a very strong. You got Stafford, Puka, you got a running, you got a defense. This is an A team, 20 defense, and New Orleans and Detroit's an over team with the 26 defense. So I think Stafford has a field day on this weak defense. I think the Lions score. It's a 20 defense, but I think the Lions can score. I don't think you're going to stop them. I don't think this is a Philadelphia or Green Bay style defense where they have really good pass rushers and golf, chokes and cries and, oh my God, they're going to sack me. I don't think LA does that. I mean, they might. In the Seattle game, they got 4 picks on Darnold. So I think if anything, golf will get picked a lot. But I think this is do or die for the line. They lose, they're out, right? They're 8-6. The Bears are going to beat Cleveland. Green Bay's beaten them twice in a row. The Bears got Detroit the last game of the year. They'll beat them in Chicago. So Detroit, this is a do-or. They lose, they're out. Simple as that. And the Rams have to win. They're tied with Seattle, and they're a game up on the 49ers for the 1 seed. So they are not going to fall asleep at home. Right. It's not like New England, who has a 2-game lead on Buffalo and a game up on the number 1 seed, where they don't really have their backs against the wall like Buffalo has their back against the wall. This is Detroit with their back against the wall, and the Rams kind of would like to win, but I think you'll see a good effort. It's revenge for losing in the playoffs 2 years ago and last year, and I think the Rams at home really want this one. Stafford, I know, really wants this one. So I think it's a close game. I think the Rams win, but I think it's a high-scoring game. Green Bay, Denver, this is your free play. I like Denver is a home dog is a joke here. Green Bay, an under team. Green Bay is 342.5. Green Bay, an under team with a 16 defense with Micah Parsons. And you got Denver, an under team with the 17. Excuse me. Hello? Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm in the middle of class, but your silver's up to 63.40.
Oh, really? Are you going to be done soon, or?
Maybe, I don't know, about 45 minutes or so.
All right, just call me when you're done.
Okay, sure.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. So again, Green Bay, a very bad road favorite, and Denver is 13-0 in the teaser, 29-2 the last 2 years, and 14-0 at home. And they beat Kansas City at home. They went to Philly to win, so they played some good games against good defenses. They'll be in the game. Green Bay on the road is not as strong. Love will throw some picks against this defense. This is a very strong defensive game. The 16 defense against the 17 defense. And we know Micah Parsons, and we know, and Love's not going to just sit there like he did last, and they're not at home. So Love is not as good on the road. So the free play is take Denver +9. I'm going to give you a score. Denver 20, Green Bay 17. A 37. You can play it any way you wish, but the free play is take Denver and 9. And also liking the under in this game, as I don't know where you're going to find 49 points. You might, but Love put up 27-20 or something like that against the Bears last week, 28-21. He's not going to find 28 points against Denver and the Mile High and everything. The weather's fine. The weather's 50 degrees there. We'll go through the weather in a second. So you have very strong Denver trends, and Green Bay is not a good road favorite. The only one that really is surprisingly, is Baltimore when Lamar's on, and a few others, but otherwise that's it. Minnesota, Dallas. Dallas is 647.5. Minnesota, an under team with a 19 defense. We know they have a good defense. And J.J. McCarthy, what do you do with him? Dallas, an over team with the 27 defense, so they give up a lot. And Dak, 2 interception a game, Dak. Dallas at 6-1. This is a do or die for them. I don't think they can catch Philly. Really, they have to catch the Bears. They can't catch Frisco, Seattle, and LA. They only have 3 losses, and there's only 4 games left, so they can go 10-6-1. And if LA, Seattle, and Frisco all lose the remaining 4, which is impossible because they play each other, then you'd get to 10-7 there. But that's not going to happen. So there's one wild card spot: Dallas versus, let's say, Detroit and Chicago. It won't be Tampa or Carolina. We got the 3 in the West, so it's either Chicago, Detroit, and Dallas is for the remaining wild card. That's why Detroit, if they lose, they're a couple games behind the Bears. It helps that they beat Dallas, but I don't think they can catch the Bears. And in that last game in Chicago, the Bears are winning it. I'm pretty sure of. So I don't know what to do with here. Dallas, yeah. JJ's terrible. Many with a pretty good defense, but not an offense that can take advantage of Dallas' defense. Dallas at home's much better. Dallas should win this game. I'd be shocked if they lose the game having to win it. In their last games, Miami and Pitt. Pitt 3.5, 42. The line hasn't moved. We got Tagliabue against Aaron Rodgers. Both teams are under teams. Miami with the 16 defense, running the ball more, but Mr. Acne's out. The running back that's been running for all the yards is not playing against Pittsburgh, who did beat Baltimore last week somehow. And, they're at home. Aaron Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers. And they're 6-1 as a home favorite is the best trend I can give you on this. Now Miami is 6-7, theoretically still alive for the wild card, although the wild card's pretty much San Diego's got it, Buffalo's got it. So the third spot is Pitt's got to get to 10 wins. I don't think Miami can get there. Mathematically, they can, but I don't really think they're not going to beat Buffalo out, and they're not going to beat San Diego out, which leaves them Kansas City, and that's it. And then we'll see what Houston does. So Miami's not going to pass Houston and Kansas City to make it. So it's basically one wild card here. Buffalo, San Diego are pretty much in. They're going to keep winning games, but that's why this Kansas City game, Kansas City wins, it really hurts Miami. Pittsburgh's going for the division win, not the wild card. And Baltimore, if they lose to Cincinnati, which is more likely, then they'll be in trouble. All right. So that's your pros. 2017 Denver, that's your free play. Also, you can play it as an under, so I'll give you a double free play. And I gave you Philadelphia 24-0 over Pickett and Oakland. And that would be it. So that's week 15. Again, I have 4 locks going in this. I've been red hot as I show you those 10-team teasers. I show you. I keep going 9-1. Last week I went 8-2 because of Bama not covering. There's one game in college. Well, there's 2 games. There's Army Navy, Boise, Washington. The Navy is 639.5. I have played this game, and Washington is 8.5, 51.5, and a bowl game in LA. I'll probably play that one too. Again, I hope everybody plays. You don't know. Now, I wanted to talk to you about all right, so let's just check in NCAA. Is, let's see, it should be, there's a spread shouldn't have changed. Yeah, Navy 6.5, 38.5. I think Navy wins the game. And then in the bowls, excuse me. Oh, it's over here. There's no week 17. It goes to postseason and bowls. All right. Washington 9.5, 52.5. Okay. All right. So that's that. And then we start on Tuesday. We then start the bowls. So again, if you want all my bowls, which includes locks, which includes the playoff games, it's $100. You get everything. 30, 40 picks. If you want the pros through the end of the year only, which includes the locks, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, That's $200. You still got 4 weeks of play at $100, 75 a week if you bought the pros, plus all the playoffs, 75 a week. If you want everything, the whole kit and caboodle, $200. I'll give you the Merry Christmas special because silver's going to the moon. Or you can give me an ounce of silver. How about that? So $200, and you'll get the rest of the college, all the bowl games, pros every week through the Super Bowl, the college playoffs, and every lock that I have. $200 will get you the whole kit and caboodle, not just the kits, but the caboodles too. So if you're interested, that's what that means. Just go to teaserking.com, or as Ron Weiss does, just Venmo me, and a few other people, by the week. So if they want to, they can just $200, they'll get everything, or they can keep giving me what they're giving me weekly. It's up to them, and they know it, and they just prefer to pay weekly. But anyway, so that's what you get. So you can Venmo me to my email, or you can, or it might be Teaser King on Venmo. I don't know. I don't send to myself, but you can Venmo, and I'll get an email, and then I'll send you the password, or you can go to Teaser King. And I showed you yesterday, that's up. It's in the purchase picks, and then just go to the both, and then find the $200. It's like the second or third down, and click on that, and there you go. All you need is an email address, I believe, or a credit card to do that. If you're afraid of that, just Venmo me, and that's fine. Or talk to me, and we'll figure out a way to PayPal. Anyway, so those are the Christmas things. Thank you and everything else. All right. Let's look at these playoffs. I mean, what a mess. Okay, you start with James Madison, Oregon. I'll use yesterday's line. It's not going to change for a while. These are December 19th and 20th. We start with the 19th, Alabama against Oklahoma. Alabama just lost to them 24-20 on pick six by Ty Simpson, who is not as we thought he was. Alabama an 18 with the 17 defense. Oklahoma is really an under team with the 13 defense. This game is in Oklahoma. The spread was Alabama 1.5. 40.5. Again, the reason Alabama's favored because everybody will bet Alabama. Even though Oklahoma beat them, it was a fluke. Prophet, how you doing? Looks like there could be a few bad weather games this weekend. Yeah, we're going to talk about them. Not really bad weather as much as cold. Like the Chicago game and the Cincinnati game are cold, but I'm not seeing a lot of snow, but we'll check now. And that's why it's like you got to, I didn't see snow in the forecast for the Buffalo game, and I'm watching the game, and there's snow, but they still scored 80 points, and we still won the over. So again, we've got Oklahoma favored, which I'm a little surprised. I would think Oklahoma would be a 3-point favorite, so I'm surprised here. Again, Alabama, the A team, their defense doesn't look as good, but I don't like Mateer. Oklahoma's quarterback's very weak. He runs a little, but Oklahoma doesn't really have a running attack. I'm very surprised that they won the game at Alabama. Again, the playoff, Alabama should not be in the playoff, and I'm not quite sure Oklahoma should be either. They're in there for their names in the market, but as soon as they play a good team, they'll get slaughtered. Like Alabama barely beat Auburn, and then Georgia just crushed them. So really, you want them in there? Oklahoma, who did they lost to Texas. Okay, they beat Alabama on a fluke kickoff return. So I'm not really buying that Oklahoma should be there either. I think BYU and Utah got screwed. BYU and Utah would beat both of these teams handily. Then on the 20th, they'll start at the top. James Madison against Oregon. Are you kidding me? James Madison's a nice team. They're a Sun Belt team. They got no chance at Oregon. And it's not even neutral. It's at Oregon. They're both A teams, both with 15 defenses. We'll give them that. But the quality of their opponents, James Madison playing Sun Belt teams. Sunbelt was really good this year, but again, as I warn you, it's okay to play them in conference, but when you got them, when they're stepping up and play, you got to be kidding. Oregon 21, 50 and a half. Oregon's going to kill them. It's a playoff game at home. This should be Utah, right? Then you'd have a good game. This should never be James Madison, should never be in this playoff, especially having to go to Oregon and play. Like, are you kidding? Tulane goes to Old Mississippi. Old Miss 17 and a half, 56 and a half. We got Tulane, an E team with a 22 defense. Did beat my North Texas team at home. The refs were paid off. It was a fixed game. It was a joke. Old Miss, an 18 with a 20. Now, I don't know, is the coach we're gonna coach this game or not? He's at LSU. Lane Kiffin, Mister. I can only play. Can you imagine him on his dating life? He must switch girls like every 6 months. So he's, is he the coach? It matters. I think he would be, but you don't know. Old Miss 17 and a half, 56 and a half. I think Old Miss. I think they'll kill them. Tulane, not that strong. Not strong enough to go to Ole Miss and win. And again, because these are home games, we're not going to make the mistake that we did last year going, well, this is a home game. We'll just play it as a regular game. No, you can't do that. And keep in mind, I'm going to show you a silver video, and I'm going to show you UK having a riot on their hands. So I think Ole Miss at home kills Tulane. And the last game, Miami goes to Texas A&M. They're both A teams. Miami with the 13 defense. I'm going to do a last five on that. I don't see that. And A&M at 22. At A&M, I think A&M wins. I think the quarterback had a shit game against Texas, but Miami's defense is not anywhere near Texas. Like I said, it's 13, but I don't buy the 13. Well, let's take a quick look. What is this? What is this defense? All right, Miami. I don't buy that. They lost to Louisville and SMU. Let's look at their last five. This will really tell us their defense. Miami's last five, 26 to SMU in overtime, 10 to Syracuse with no quarterback, 7 to NC State's impressive, 17 to VTech, who stinks, and 7 to Pitt, who's good. So that impresses there. Let's see, 26, 43, 50, 57, 67 divided by 5. So it's like it's a 15, it's a 13, 14 defense. But if we view all, let's see. If we look at the whole slate, Notre Dame got 24 on them. South Florida only 12. Florida 7. Florida State 22. Louisville 24. Stanford 7. SMU 26-20. The 6 was in overtime. And then Syracuse, and then those games. So really, their worst defensive game was 26 to SMU in overtime, 24 to Louisville. So they don't really give up a lot of points. Marcel Reed is good. A&M, 49 LSU, which is impressive. 38 on Missouri, which is impressive. 31 on South Carolina when they were down 30-3. And then they played Sam the Bulldog, 48-0. And then losing to Texas was a choke, 27-17. Against that defense was giving up 27 also was inexplicit. So that's what you have. So again, are these, well, the top four: Ohio State, Texas Tech, Indy, and Georgia. I pretty much agree with. Are these the next 8 best? I'm going to say absolutely not. I'm going to say BYU and Utah should be in there. I don't agree with Michigan. Texas, Oklahoma. Okay, Texas did beat them. Maybe Texas should be in there. I totally disagree. Tulane and James Madison, and I totally disagree that you have to have a non-Power 5 team in there. If they deserve it, they should be in there, but they shouldn't just be in there. But what is James Madison doing in there? You've got to be kidding. And that goes to the record. Well, the other teams who beat each other in the SEC have 3 losses, and here's James Madison with 1 loss playing Sunbelt. Why do you look at the record? Look at who they play, right? So, like Texas, okay, they played Georgia and they played A&M and they played Oklahoma. I mean, come on, James Madison, who'd they beat? Texas State, Georgia Southern. I mean, come on. I mean, that's ridiculous. The James Madison be there. Oregon, okay. Notre Dame and USC. Notre Dame didn't play anybody, so they lose because of their schedule. They played 3 good teams. They lost to 2 of them. So Notre Dame shouldn't be there. USC had some good wins, beat Michigan, didn't play Ohio State, didn't play Oregon, so it's very difficult. They did lose to Notre Dame at Notre Dame, so we don't know. But I don't see how you put Tulane and James Madison in, and this is the problem. I don't know why Alabama's in. Well, we don't want to penalize them for playing Georgia in the championship game. Then why do you have these conference championship games? If Alabama beat Georgia, would Alabama have the bye, even though they have 2 losses? I don't know. Georgia, if this is the Georgia team we're getting, look out. Indiana, to go to Ohio State and win, or to go to Indy and beat them is incredible. Texas Tech, they're the best team. Texas Tech will win the title. Absolutely. Because they have everything. They have the best quarterback, a very good running back, and a killer defense where 4 guys will be drafted in the first round. Defensive tackle, a linebacker, a guy in the secondary. Just look out. Texas Tech, yeah, they lost to Arizona State because their quarterback was out, and Levitt, was a fluke, but that happens. Ohio State plays Indy in a neutral field. Ohio State, the coach fucks up, doesn't kick the field goal. They go on 4th and 1 at the 5 instead of kicking the field goal because they think that if they go for it, they'll make it, right? Oh, it's 4th and 1 at the 5. We'll go for it. We'll make it. We're Ohio State. Yeah, and you lost by a field goal. Reminds you of Georgia, Alabama, when Georgia didn't go for it and didn't make it and lost by a field goal. Get your points. This game is about the team with the most points wins. Get your fucking points. So, that's all I see. So I think the number 1 team's Texas Tech, followed by Indiana and Ohio State and Georgia are all about the same. Does any of these first 8 teams have a chance? Not in your life. This playoff is there's 4 great teams and there's about 12 that are second level. BYU could not beat Texas Tech, couldn't stay close, but is better than, I'd say BYU is much better than James Madison, would beat Tulane, would beat Miami and A&M and Alabama and Oklahoma. BYU and Utah would beat all those teams. It's the stupidest thing. Why Miami's in there? They lost to Louisville and SMU. Maybe you have Virginia in there. Georgia Tech. I don't understand Miami being in there. Again, it's a weak conference, the ACC. Thank God Clemson's not in there. So Alabama, Oklahoma are there for the names. They can't handle any of those next 4. Alabama, whoever wins that game's gone, as is Miami, A&M, and Tulane, Ole Miss. Ole Miss maybe has a chance if Lane Kiffin's still there, and Oregon's got no chance. And for sure, James Madison has it. So again, it's a weird playoff. You're not taking the top 12 teams. You got the top 4, and after that, you forgot about BYU. You forgot about Utah. You're looking at the record instead of the team. Of course, Utah has to play BYU and Texas Tech, and of course, that A&M got lucky. They didn't play Georgia, didn't play Oklahoma, didn't play Alabama, didn't play Mississippi, didn't play Tennessee. What the fuck? So you're in there. They're in for the record, but they're not that strong. Anyway, we will see. I just wanted to touch base on the college playoff, how stupid it is. All right, I'm going to share with you. All right, so there's a couple of videos I want to share with you. First one is on England. So here's what's going on in England.
Message has turned into something else. We will strip the assets of the working.
This is yesterday in London.
Farmers attending a protest planned tomorrow outside Parliament.
5 columns encircled Parliament. 234 streets paralysed. Over 1,800 tractors stormed London. And in just 14 minutes, the capital was placed under total siege. This is not a union negotiation. This is war between the farmers and the government. At 8:30 a.m., the highways into London were severed. At 8:54, the tractors breached Westminster. At 9:15, the tanks were on the streets. Witnesses reported over a dozen tanks aligned with these protesters. Suddenly, reports broke of a tank crushing a police van. Police refused to confirm this. The farmers didn't care. This was the beginning of the end. By 9:30, sharp, tractors began sealing off every entry and exit to the government quarter. Keir Starmer declared that anyone participating in the siege would face prison time. But the protesters had nothing left to lose. When you demand £400,000 from farmers earning barely $30,000 just to keep their land, you don't just crush a business, you surrender the nation's food security to balance a broken ledger. And after it, you're stripping assets from the people who feed the nation to fund benefits for new arrivals, effectively buying the next election win with the wreckage of British farming. By lunch, analysts estimated the damage at £82 million. Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves see farmers as millionaires. Yes, their land is valuable, but in reality, they earn pennies. While the main London's highways remain blocked by tractors, the unthinkable becomes possible. Food reserves in the capital's supermarkets will last 2 to 3 days at most. Warehouses never planned for a city besieged by thousands of tractors. While Starmer remains silent, police platoons are fighting to stop tractors from driving straight into the Parliament session. Waves across the country took to the streets demanding Starmer's resignation and holding signs that read, "No farmers, no food." By evening, the government's worst nightmare materialised. Thousands of those the media branded as far-right groups flooded onto the streets. Merged with the tractors and the tanks, it became a nuclear mix. Tonight isn't about a budget dispute. It's about who actually feeds this island and who holds the power to starve it. The columns that breached the M25 highway were not urban activists, and they were not weekend protesters. Many had driven hundreds of miles from the regions, forcing their heavy machinery through police lines that Starmer foolishly thought would hold. A TikTok clip reached 7.3 million views. It showed a police van trying to block tractors' convoy and faced the immediate consequences 8 seconds later. The video was removed in 2 hours, labelled as a violence violations. Waves of protesters didn't come to lobby, they came to siege. A strategy that traces back to a rural population pushed into a corner by a tax policy designed to erase their existence. These weren't traffic jams. They were calculated strangleholds, logistical choke points to see how long the capital can survive without a supply chain, before the government breaks. And tonight, Westminster learned something terrifying. Concrete barriers failed, armoured vans were pushed aside, and Starmer's administration watched in paralysis. Officers on the ground weren't unwilling to stop them. They were simply outmatched by 10-ton machines that do not feel the bite of a baton. In South London, a radio message reported, "Sector 15 is lost, we just can't stop them," requesting immediate deployment of military equipment. Protesters on the ground began firing fireworks directly at police shields. 123 arrests were made. In Belfast, 2 police vans were set on fire. Rumours of a possible declaration of martial law began to spread. Starmer is expected to make a statement in the morning. In central London, a police negotiation unit was deployed. But 200 metres away, reports came in of 7 hospitalised officers. Everything was called off. The demands from the tractors are absolute. Total repeal of so-called agricultural property relief, changes or the blockade remains. Starmer's cabinet looks at a spreadsheet and sees a £3 million asset that should be taxed. The farmer looks at that same land and sees a workplace that generates less than £30,000 in annual profit. The new 20% levy on assets over 1 million is not a tax on wealth. It is a tax on existence. Children are facing an immediate bill of £500,000 the moment a parent passes away. There is no cash reserve to pay this. The only option is to sell the fields, destroying the business and ending centuries of tradition. Next to Parliament, farmers denounce Starmer as a city accountant who understands nothing about British agriculture.
All right, so we got the gist of it. They're broke because they inflated the money supply. Hello. Print. It's worthless. Your country's fucked. So what do? They start taxing the people. Oh, your farm's really worth $3 million, but it only produces 30. So the land's worth more. So if I'm a farmer, I'm selling my land for the $3 million if it's really worth $3 million, right? Why would I farm the land for 30,000 if it's worth 3 million? And then I'd get the fuck out of England. So again, it's this taxing policy because they're broke. They want to tax whoever they can to get money to do it. And the farmers are saying, fuck you. And they're all with their tractors going to the Capitol. They should go right into Starmer and just hang him by the balls like Mussolini. Starmer has no idea what he's doing. He should be thrown out. I don't know how he got in. This is the trouble when you have the communist in charge, Starmer, socialist, same thing, in charge. They want to tax people with money to try to get out of the problem. The problem is stop inflating the money supply. You see how this plays into everything. And don't kid yourself. This is coming to a theater near us very soon. Probably within 6 months, you're going to have tractors going on Washington because we're in the same boat. We are broke. We're too stupid to have gold and silver, and we're going to tax whoever we can. And that's why we're sitting there going, shh, we have gold and silver. You're not taxing us because you don't even know we have it. And since we didn't make a capital gain, you're not taxing. We're not selling it. So you can't tax us because you don't know we have it. And that's why you buy gold and silver. You get out of this whole mess. If I was in London, if I flew there today and I could help all these people, I would say just sell your farm, go buy gold and silver, and let's go move to Switzerland and we'll be with Egon and we can put the money in the vaults. You can't fight it, right? Because the government, and this is the problem with government. Why is there government? Government's supposed to lead the country and preserve it and safety and good health and wealth and keep the money, right? And free trade and fair trade. That's what the government's role is to prosper the country, not destroy it. But these are George Soros people, and they're there to destroy it. Okay, the next one here is, France is broke. So let's watch a few minutes of this.
I recently purchased the most popular glucose meter online and decided to test it with you. If you have diabetes...
Imagine you've just landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport. You're expecting the fantasy. You're expecting the France of Louis Vuitton ads, endless cafe terraces, and a work-life balance that makes American capitalism look like a penal colony. You think you're entering a wealthy superpower, but you're wrong. You're stepping into a country that is quietly, politely, and steadily going broke. A country where the middle class is evaporating, where the most ambitious young people are fleeing, and where the government is sitting on a debt bomb that makes Italy look fiscally responsible. The croissants are still good, but the economics, they're terrifying. Welcome to the reality of the French decline. Here are 7 reasons why France is poorer than you think. 1. The smicardization of the soul. Let's play a game. Imagine you're a young French professional. You did everything right. You suffered through the classes preparatoires. You got your master's degree. You speak decent English. You land a good job in a mid-sized city like Lyon or Bordeaux. You open your first paycheck and you stare at it. 1940 euros. That's the net monthly median salary in France as of 2024. That means half the population earns less than that. Now, compare that to your friend who didn't go to college. Maybe they work as a cashier or a cleaner or an unqualified server. They're on the SMIC, the Salaire Minimum Interprofessionnel de Croissance, the minimum wage. As of 2024, the net SMIC is around 1,400 euros. Do you see the problem? The gap between surviving and middle class is less than 550 euros a month. In the US, the gap between a minimum wage worker and a median earner is massive. In France, it's a rounding error. This phenomenon has a name. Economists call it smicardization. It's the Great Flattening. Over the last 20 years, France has essentially compressed its wage structure into a pancake. Because the cost of labor is so high for companies, we'll get to the taxes later, oh boy, will we? Employers simply cannot afford to give raises. So when the government raises the minimum wage to keep up with inflation, which they do aggressively, the bottom floor rises but the ceiling stays where it is. The result? The floor is eating the room. Decades ago, only a small percentage of French workers were on minimum wage. Today, it's over 17% of the workforce.
Now, what we know is if you do a minimum wage, it's very destructive because the market sets the price for what you pay your employers. So we'll go back to we run an ice cream store, me and all you guys. So it's the Teaserking ice cream store, and we sell ice cream. Well, we do our budget and how much can we get for our Sundays? And how much does our ice cream cost us and our utilities, electricity and everything? And at the end of the day, we figure out this is how much it costs. We can afford to pay our ice cream scoopers and the people that, handle the ice cream $5 an hour for us to be profitable, right? The government comes and says, you got to pay $10 an hour. That's the minimum wage you can pay somebody. We can only afford $5. So what do? We lay off half the people. We give, let's say they got 10 people. We give 5 people the $10. The other 5 we fire because we can't afford them because we're in business to make money. And that's what happens. And then as you raise the minimum wage, you lay off people. It is not good. It is not like that. And the market has to control the minimum wage based on what I can sell my ice cream for. Can I sell my ice cream instead of $5 an ice cream for 10? Absolutely not. Minimum wage sucks. It's a socialist thing, and it never works because the market dictates what you can afford to pay people, not the government. The government, that's why it's called laissez-faire economics, invisible hand. Keep the fucking government out of it. Let me handle my workers, me handle the marketplace, me handle the competition. We don't want or need the government involved. That's what laissez-faire means. It's leave it alone, keep the government out because they don't do anything good. There's nothing good the government does. And so it's just terrible what they do. All right. So basically that's the gist of France falling. It's just the wages and then the people are getting older. So in a nutshell, people are getting older. So the Social Security and pension are higher. They don't have the money. The healthcare is free. And so all the really smart people are leaving. So all the IT and the AI and the engineers are leaving France to come to the US or Germany. So there's no high wealth individuals in France to support this. And so it's not a good place to live because you're paying a lot of taxes, again, because you've printed your money to zero, or in this case, the euro, and you just don't have the income coming in. But you want to have socialism. You want to give free healthcare, and all these people, the tourists that came in that are living there, these whatever, at the border, the incoming people, you know what I'm saying. So you have that, which is bullshit. And so therefore you have a problem. And France is going. They just, the way a country runs is people earn money. And I don't get this whole tax thing. It shouldn't be taxes. You earn the money, you quit inflating it, you have free trade. So you make your money on products that you make that people trade for. And that's where you make your money. And they pay you for, oh, you make croissants, I'll pay you $5. That's how you do it. So you run the croissant business. And Airbus is in France, and Peugeot, they don't have much in cars, but they don't really make anything. So everything's being manufactured in China and Germany. And that's the problem. The US doesn't make anything anymore. That's our problem. That's why we're broke. There's no way to make the money. We're trying to make money on finance. Well, we'll sell you a 401k or a mutual fund. All right. So there's a few more things on Britain I'm not going to show you. Steel plants are going out. The end of the UK. Breaking steel plants. So there's a bunch of UK. The Starmer's an idiot. He's a Nazi. He's put in there by George Soros, and he's destroying the UK. France is destroying themselves with the taxes and they all want the socialism. They all want, oh yeah, free healthcare, and here's your Social Security, and we're going to have a lot of debt. And we, huge debt and huge defense. And oh yeah, by the way, we're broke, because that's exactly the reverse. You want the productivity gains. You want people creating things and selling them and making profit. And the only reason the US is still surviving is because of Silicon Valley, basically. Not Mark Zuckerberg's book. That doesn't make anything. Or the banks fucking over everybody and all these wars. I mean, we're gone too. There'll be a lot of problems up in Washington. There'll be a lot of protests, and basically we're broke. So basically you can rest at night with gold and silver, and you keep buying it, and you can see what's happening, and you keep buying it, stay off the radar. We'll be fine. We won't have to listen to the government. That's the best way. Let's see. Here's a good thing on the 6230 nightmare scenario on gold and silver. Now, I already teach this to you, but we'll watch a little of it. Where basically the COMEX has been doing paper gold and silver. We do physical. And now everybody wants delivery. Everybody wants physical, but there isn't any physical left. JP Morgan stole a bunch. COMEX doesn't have any. And now the demand for physical is huge. There's no supply. And that's why you see prices gone. There'll be $1,000 soon, $2,000 soon. Gold will be 10,000 because the demand, no supply, and the demand's caused by the inflation, the money being worthless. We understand that. Most people don't. Most people think, I got 500,000 in my 401k. I'm fine. You're not fine. You don't have anything. It's not worth it. So they don't understand that. So anyway, we'll watch this a little bit. It's funny. It's some Chinese guy, but it's AI because he can't speak English. So it's just, like, he doesn't sound like the guy.
Recently, I went on my first cruise, and it was so much fun. It was 7 nights with Virgin Voyages through the Caribbean. So here,
hated silver in a pool account. Yesterday, we celebrated. We told the world that the banks had surrendered. We told you that the price manipulation was over. But today, the phone lines went dead. The spot price of silver is sitting at $62.30. It held the line.
63.
It didn't crash. On paper, you're richer than you have ever been. But try to spend it. Try to take that $62.30 and buy an ounce of physical silver right now. I dare you. Go to the biggest wholesalers in North America. Call the refineries in Switzerland. Call the mints in Australia. Do you know what you're going to hear? You're going to hear a dial tone, or you're going to hear a recorded message saying, due to extreme market volatility, we are currently not accepting new orders. We warned you about this. We told you that when the price finally broke the commercial suppression, it wouldn't be a smooth ride to the moon. We told you it would break the machine. Well, the machine is broken. What we are witnessing right now at $62.30 is not a supply shortage. It is a liquidity nightmare. The supply chain for physical silver has snapped. Refineries are halting orders. Wholesalers are canceling trades that were locked in yesterday. The U.S. Mint is reportedly on indefinite allocation. Why? Because the price went up too fast. It sounds insane, doesn't it? You would think high prices would bring more supply to the market. That is how Economics 101 works. High prices incentivize sellers. But the silver market isn't Economics 101. It is a leverage-filled house of cards. And at $62.30, the hedging mechanism that allows refineries to operate has turned into a suicide pact. In this video, which might be the most important warning I ever issue, I'm going to explain exactly why the supply chain has frozen. I'm going to walk you through the refiner's trap. I am going to show you why having fiat currency in your hand right now is the most dangerous position to be in. And I am going to explain why $62.30 isn't the price. It's the last known coordinate of a ship that just vanished from the radar. If you are waiting for a pullback to buy, you are already dead in the water. The window didn't close. It was bricked over. This is the nightmare scenario. Let's define the situation on the ground right now, December 11th. Usually, a market has two sides: a bid, what people are willing to pay, and an ask, what sellers are willing to take. When these two meet, you have a trade. You have liquidity.
That's called a fair trade. That's exactly what a fair trade is. I want to buy it. You want to sell it. We reach the price. We're both happy. That's the goal of life. You want fair trades. Forget the free trade. The free trade, there's no tax on it or anything. But in a fair trade, both parties are happy. That's what we're looking for. So you asked me to sell my silver. My fair trade's $1,000. You want my silver? $1,000 an ounce. Now, if I need a little bit, maybe I sell it for $500. But I'm not selling it at $63 because it's not a fair trade to me. It's worth a lot more because I understand Austrian economics. I understand the dollar's worthless. I understand how short the supply is, and I understand how big the demand is. So I see silver's at $1,000 an ounce in physical world. So why would I sell it at 62? Like I tell you that story, I'm at the coin store, and this is back a few years, and he's out of 1 ounce eagles, and he says, I'll give you $2,000. It was probably selling for $2,000 at the time for my eagles. And I said, add a zero to it. At $20,000 an ounce, I'll sell it to you. But at $2,000, it's a joke because they didn't understand, and I do, that that's the paper price, not the physical price. And so I said, make it $20,000, I'll sell you an ounce, but not at 2. Now it's at 4, on its way to 10, on its way to 20, and on and on and on. As you can see, silver now. And so why would I sell something that I know is worth a lot more, but we're smart enough to know this is a paper price, not a physical price? Why the fuck would I let it go? It's certainly not a fair trade to us because we understand that's the paper price and I got physical. It's 10 times more. So that's why we're not running to sell. That's why we don't profit take. It's not a fair trade to us because we're smart enough to buy it at $25, $30, $35 an ounce. Does not mean we're idiots and we want to sell it at 62 because we made some money. We made paper money, which is worthless, and we know the physical price is 10 times. So a fair trade for us is $500, $600, not that. Oh, it is going to go to 80. It's going to go to 100. No, it's going to 1,000 at least. All right, but that's what we want is a fair trade. But because we're smart enough to buy physical, it ain't a fair trade at 63.
But as of this morning, the silver market has gone bid only. There are millions of people waving cash, trying to buy it to $62, $65, even $70. But there is no ask. The sellers have left the building. I received a report this morning from a major contact at one of the largest precious metals distributors in Texas. This is a company that moves millions of ounces a month. He told me, quote, "We have ceased all sales. Our hedging line with the bullion bank is maxed out. We cannot replace the metal we sell, so we are closing the website until further notice." Think about that. They are in the business of selling silver. Silver is at an all-time high, and they are refusing to sell. Why? Because of replacement risk. Imagine you are a dealer. You have a monster box of silver eagles on your shelf. You bought it 3 months ago when silver was $30. Today, silver is $62.30. You could sell it and make a massive profit, right? Wrong. Because if you sell that box today for $62 an ounce, you have cash. But tomorrow, if silver goes to $70 or $80 or $100, you have to take that cash and buy new inventory to restock your shelf. But if the price is rising faster than you can restock, you go out of business. You sold an asset that is appreciating for a currency that is crashing. So the smart dealers, the ones who survived 1980 and 2011, have realized the trap. They are hoarding their own inventory. They're betting that the metal is worth more than the margin. This creates a liquidity vacuum. The metal exists, it's sitting in vaults, it's sitting in safes, but it is not available. It is moved from inventory to strategic reserve. And this is trickling down to you. If you go to APMEX, JM Bullion, or SD Bullion right now, you might see pre-order buttons. Expected ship date, February 2026. Do not click that button. That is an unsecured loan you are giving to a dealer who doesn't have the metal. At $62.30, the physical link has been severed. And the reason starts at the very top of the food chain, the refineries. This is the technical part. You need to understand this to understand why 62.30 broke this.
All right, first of all, he doesn't understand it. We understand the price is much higher. He doesn't understand it, right? He's saying, well, they could sell it and make profit, but then they're back in dollars, but then they'd have to buy it at 100. If you have these boxes, it's worth a lot more than the 62.30. That's the whole point. It's worth a lot more. This is the paper price. In physical world, it's worth 10 times more. So therefore, you would never want to sell it. That's why I laugh when I go to my gold store and the guy's selling gold and silver. And I'm like, are you keeping some in your safe? Are you selling one and putting 10 in your safe? He's like, no, I need. And I'm like, you're an idiot, because this is very cheap, because you don't understand that this is the paper price for a physical price. So I got to repeat that point, because that's the crucial point. This is not the physical price. This is a derivative price that you're dealing with. And so therefore, to sell it at 60, if you're a store, you need inventory. Well, so the store's fucked, because they're not going to sell anything. The store's screwed either way, because they're not going to sell their inventory, because then they'd have to pay more to get it. But then they're not selling it. So how do they keep their lights on? So the stores are in big trouble, because they really can't sell to get new inventory in, and they're going to have to pay more. So they're going to have to sell or go out of business. So it's not like they can hold it and wait till it goes up to 500 an ounce to sell it, because then they don't sell. They can't cover payroll and rent and everything. All right, now this is interesting. He talks about the mines
system. Most people think a refinery like Heraeus, PAMP, or Valcambi is a speculator. They think refiners love high prices. They don't. Refiners hate volatility. Here's how the business works. A refinery buys raw door bars from a mine. Let's say they buy 1 million ounces. It takes time to refine that silver, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. The refinery is terrified that the price of silver will drop while they are refining it. If they buy at $62 and it drops to $50, they lose millions. So how do they protect themselves? They use the futures market. The moment they buy the physical ore, they go onto the COMEX and short an equivalent amount of paper silver. If they hold 1 million ounces of physical, they sell 1 million ounces of paper. This is called a perfect hedge. If silver price goes down, they lose money on the physical, but make money on the short. If silver price goes up, they make money on the physical, but lose money on the short. They are delta neutral. They just want to make money on the refining fee, not the price movement. This system works great when silver moves 10 cents a day. It works okay when silver moves 50 cents a day. But what happens when silver moves to $1.50 in a day? And then another $0.50, several dollars the next morning? The margin call. The refinery holds the physical metal, but that metal is sitting in a furnace. It's not cash. But their short position on the COMEX is losing millions of dollars by the hour as the price spikes to $62.30. The exchange doesn't care that the refinery has physical metal. They want cash to cover the loss on the paper short. This is the nightmare. The refinery is technically solvent, but they are illiquid. So on Wednesday, December 10th, when silver ripped through $60, every major refinery in the world got a phone call from their broker. Send $50 million now, or we liquidate your position. Where does a refinery get $50 million in cash overnight? They don't. So what do? They stop buying. They stop buying raw ore from the mines because they can't afford to put on a new hedge. And if they stop buying ore, they stop producing bars. This is why the supply chain halted. The high price blew up the hedging mechanism that allows the supply chain to function. It's a paradox. The higher the price goes, the less silver gets produced. We saw this in March 2020. We saw it in February 2021. But this is worse, because in 2020, silver was $12. At $62.30, the capital requirements are 5 times higher. The margin calls are 5 times larger. The refineries are paralyzed. And until the volatility...
Now, if the refineries knew Austrian economics, they wouldn't be hedging and they wouldn't be worried that the price is going down. They'd be buying it and making it with no fear that it's going down to 50. And these are the idiots that are shorting. So when we see the shorts and it drops, these are the idiots doing it, and they're clueless. The price of silver is not going down. If you'd stop shorting it, it would run to 100 already. You'd be making a fortune because you'd be doing it, buying it at 60, selling it at 100. But you keep hedging because you're clueless. There is no way these are going down because of demand and because the dollar's worthless. However, the silver refiners do not understand. If they knew the dollar was worthless, they would just be buying and buying and buying and making and holding and watching the price go up. So why are they hedging? Only a moron would hedge. So this is one of the problems with COMEX. These silver miners, not the miners, but the producers are shorting it. So they're a big part of the shorters. They have no business shorting something that's not going down. Do we short? No. We know it's going up. So why don't these guys who produce it know that it's going up and not worry about, they're worried about it. Well, I better short it. I better hedge it. There's no need to hedge it. If you fucking understood what was going on, you would never hedge it. There is no reason to hedge. We don't hedge. I don't hedge. I don't short my silver that hit 63 today at 58 or 60. It's not a stock. It's fucking money, and the dollar's collapsed. It's, again, if you understood this is worthless, you wouldn't worry about it coming down because it can't. If you understood bricks, you wouldn't worry about it coming down. So these producers are a bunch of fucking idiots.
Stops until the price stabilizes, they will not produce a single new bar. We are looking at a global production freeze right at the moment of peak demand. So the refineries are frozen. What happens to the next layer? The wholesalers. These are the companies that buy 1,000-ounce industrial bars and melt them down into 1-ounce rounds, 10-ounce bars, and coins. They are the bridge between the industrial market and you, the retail investor. When the refineries halted orders this morning, the wholesalers panicked. I spoke to a source at a major minting facility in Florida just 2 hours ago. He described the atmosphere as apocalyptic. He said, "We have orders for 500,000 ounces from retail customers who bought the breakout yesterday. We took their cash, but our supplier just canceled our delivery for next week. We are short 500,000 ounces. We are technically bankrupt if we can't source the metal. This is the dirty little secret of the bullion industry. Most of it runs on just-in-time inventory. When you buy from a website, they often don't have that specific bar. They turn around and order it from the wholesaler. The wholesaler orders it from the refiner. The chain is broken. The guy in Florida, he has 2 choices. Refund your money. You get your fiat back, which is losing value. Or delay shipping, the dreaded allocation email. We are seeing option number 2 happen en masse today. If you check your email, you might see a notification. Due to unprecedented demand, your order has been delayed. Estimated shipping, 4.6 weeks. Translation, we don't have the silver. We are praying the price drops so we can find some.
Which isn't going to happen. This is why we go to the store, we buy it, we leave the store with the silver. Or the gold. We don't play these games. We are smarter than they are. We are 5 steps ahead. We go to the store, we give them money, and we walk out with the physical. We don't have to play any of these games. And now look, all these people playing these games are now have given everybody a loan because they've paid for the silver and they're not going to be delivered and the price will not go down. So I don't know when they're going to get new silver. Meanwhile, the demand's huge. We are at the Titanic frenzy stage in my mind. What is that? That's when everybody realizes the boat's sinking and everybody runs to the lifeboat. There's 1,000 people running for 5 lifeboats. You got millions of people running for silver that isn't there, and they're gonna panic and frenzy to buy it. And now the price, get on the rocket. That's what we've been waiting for. All right.
Or
we are praying the refinery opens back up. But here's the kicker. While the wholesalers are scrambling, the industrial buyers are swooping in. Tesla, Samsung, First Solar. They don't buy 1 ounce coins. They buy the 1,000 ounce bars directly from the vaults. And at 62.30, they aren't hedging. They're stockpiling. They see the refinery freeze. They understand the mechanics I just explained to you. They know that if the refineries stop producing for a month, the solar assembly lines stop. And that cannot happen. So the industrial giants are bypassing the wholesalers. They're offering premiums that the coin shops can't match. They're paying $65, $70, $75 per ounce for immediate delivery of industrial bars. This sucks the remaining liquidity out of the retail market. The wholesalers are getting outbid by the tech giants. You're competing for silver against Elon Musk. Who do you think wins that?
I don't agree with that. The Elon Musk and these guys are going right to the mines. They're getting the dory, and then they're getting it refined into that. They're paying Switzerland to do that. They're not going to the stores. They used to, but now they're going right to the mines. There's a lot. China, Russia, they go right to the mines. They don't fuck around going to COMEX or these type of places.
War. This contagion is spreading fast. By next week, I predict that 80% of the online inventory you see today will be marked sold out. The remaining 20% will carry premiums of 50% or more. You will see spot at $62 and silver eagles at $100. That is not hyperbole. That is the math of a broken supply chain. Now, we have to talk about the legal implications. The words you need to learn today are force majeure. It's a French term. It means superior force. In contract law, it's a clause that allows a company to walk away from a contract because of an unforeseeable event that makes performance impossible. Usually, this is reserved for wars, earthquakes, or acts of God. But in the fine print of almost every bullion dealer and futures exchange, market dislocation or extreme volatility is listed as a valid reason for force majeure. With silver at 62.30 and refineries halted, we are dangerously close to force majeure declarations. What does this mean for you? If you hold unallocated silver in a pool account, if you hold SLV shares, if you hold a futures contract, and the entity declares force majeure, they do not have to give you the silver. They can settle your contract in cash, and they will settle it at a price they determine. Imagine this scenario. Silver hits $100 next week. The dealer or bank declares force majeure because they can't source the metal. They send you a check for your account value based on the closing price of December 10th, $61.75. Silver is trading at $100. You get paid $61.75. You lose $40 an ounce, and you lose the metal. And it is perfectly legal.
Okay, first of all, ETFs have no metal for you. Secondly, this is why you don't fuck with ETFs or stocks. This is why you have the metal. I have this. Nobody could fuck with me. Nobody can say, I'm only going to give you X or Y. Based on the gold and silver going up to 100, this is worth, if this was silver, it'd be worth 100. It's worth 500 in gold. But that's the thing. So that's why you don't play ETFs. You don't pay paper, gold, and silver. You buy the physical. That's it. That's what you buy because they make the bars. They take the gold and silver from the mines and they refine it and then they do it. You're already in the physical. You're 10 steps ahead and you don't get fucked. Don't pay ETFs. If you're in it, get the fuck out. But looks like everybody's going to get screwed because this is probably what's going to happen. They're not going to pay you 100. But they don't have your gold anyway. So I don't know what he's talking about. The ETFs are never going to give you your gold and silver back. I got 1,000 ounces of gold. No, you don't. You don't have any because they sell your 1 ounce of gold to 1,000 people, and they're not going to pay all 1,000. The same with silver. All right, a little bit more.
This is why I have screamed from the rooftops for years. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. At 62.30, counterparty risk is the biggest risk you face. The system is looking for an exit hatch. Force majeure is that hatch. We are already seeing the early signs. The Shanghai Gold Exchange just raised margin requirements to 20%. The COMEX is likely to raise margins tonight. These are soft barriers. Force majeure is the hard barrier. If refineries stay closed for another week, if the margin calls aren't met, you will see the first major default. It might be a small mint first, then a regional bank. But once the domino falls, the cash settlement wave begins. You do not want to be a creditor to a bankrupt bullion dealer. You want to be the owner of the physical asset. This leads us to the new reality of the market. We are witnessing a divorce. For 40 years, the spot price and the physical price were married. They moved together. Sure, there was a small premium, $2 here, $3 there.
They never moved
but
together.
At 62.30, they have filed for divorce. The spot price is becoming irrelevant. It is a number on a screen that represents a 5,000 ounce.
Okay, the spot price and the physical were never married. That's just what people sold it because there was no physical price, but they were never the same. That's bullshit. All right. 62.30, we know is a joke. We know at $40, at $30, it was always a joke. But the dealers sold it at spot because they didn't have a physical price. But it's never been the same. And it never was intended. This is the option price. So to say that they're different is bullshit. There is no physical price. We're using the paper price, but there is no physical price. So this guy's wrong on that.
Bar that might not exist, traded by high frequency algorithms. The real price is what you can negotiate in a dark alley. It is the price a solar manufacturer pays a refiner. It is the price you pay your local coin shop. Right now, that price is closer to $80. If spot is $62 and you can't buy below $80, what is the real price of silver? It's $80.
$600.
The screen is lying. This divergence is dangerous because it tricks you. You look at the screen and see a pullback to $61, $50. You think, oh, I'll wait to buy. But the physical premium just went up by $2. So even though spot dropped, the cost to buy went up. This is called backwardation in the physical market. It means the immediate possession of the asset is valued significantly higher than the promise of the asset in the future. Why is this happening? Because trust has evaporated. Nobody trusts the comics to deliver. Nobody trusts the refineries to reopen quickly. Nobody trusts the dollar to hold its value. When trust vanishes, premiums explode. We saw this in Venezuela. We saw this in Zimbabwe. When the currency collapses, the price of gold and silver doesn't just go up. It disappears from the official market and only trades on the black market. We aren't fully there yet, but halted orders at major refineries is the first step toward the black market phase. The official channels are clogging up. The unofficial channels are where the metal is moving. And if you aren't plugged into the physical market right now, if you are still looking at the ticker on CNBC, you are watching a ghost. If you're just joining us, let me be crystal clear about what we established in part 1. The mechanism of the silver market has failed. Refineries have halted orders due to a collapse in their hedging capabilities. Wholesalers are canceling retail deliveries because they cannot source the metal. And the spot price of $62.30 is rapidly becoming a ghost number. We are now past the event horizon. In astrophysics, the event horizon is the point around a black hole where the gravitational pull becomes so strong that not even light can escape. Once you cross it, there is no turning back. You cannot reverse the ship. You cannot radio for help. You are in the gravity well. The silver market crossed its event horizon this morning at 9 a.m. when the major Swiss refiners stopped picking up the phone. So what happens next? If you think the chaos of the last 24 hours was extreme, you have seen nothing yet. What comes next is the unobtainium phase. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to map out the future of this crisis. I'm going to explain the minor pivot that is about to create the biggest stock market bubble since the dot-com boom. I'm going to expose the government's inevitable reaction, the regulatory hammer that they will try to drop on us to stop the bleeding. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the roadmap to $100, not as a theory, but as a mathematical certainty driven by the breakdown we're living through right now. Buckle up. The easy part is over. The grind begins now. To understand where silver goes from $62.30, you have to stop thinking like a trader. You have to start thinking like a survivalist. You have to understand the psychology of unobtainium. Unobtainium is a term used in engineering and sci-fi for a material that is perfect for the application, but impossible to get. When a commodity becomes unobtainium, the price creates a vertical wall. It doesn't go up 10% a day. It doubles. Then it doubles again. We saw this with rhodium in 2020. Rhodium is used in catalytic converters. Supply tightened. Manufacturers panicked. The price went from $2,000 to $29,000. A 14x increase. Why? Because the car companies needed it. If they didn't have rhodium, they couldn't sell the $50,000 car. So paying $29,000 for an ounce of dust was a bargain compared to shutting down the factory. Silver has just entered this phase. Think about the solar industry. I mentioned this before, but let's drill deeper. A TopCon solar panel factory runs 24/7. It costs billions to build. It employs thousands of people. It has contracts with governments to deliver gigawatts of power. If the silver paste runs out, the factory stops. The workers go home. The contracts are breached. The stock price of the solar company collapses. The government fines them. So what is the procurement manager at First Solar doing right now? He is looking at the screen. He sees $62.30. He calls his supplier. The supplier says, no inventory. Does the manager say, oh, well, I guess we'll wait? No. He screams. He says, I don't care what the price is. Find it. He calls a competitor. He calls a vault in London. He calls a private hoarder. He offers $70. They say no. He offers $80. They say no. He offers $100. And finally, someone says yes. That is how the price jumps from $62 to $100 overnight. It's not speculation, it's existential panic. The retail investor, you and me, we feel FOMO. The industrial user feels FODO, fear of dying out. FODO is a much stronger emotion than FOMO. We are seeing early reports today that Samsung and LG are directly approaching mining companies to buy run of mine production. They are trying to bypass the refiners entirely.
They've already done this.
They're offering to finance the mines in exchange for guaranteed delivery. This is the ultimate sign of unobtainium. The supply chain is being rewritten in real time. And what happens to the price during this phase? It becomes inelastic. It means that no matter how high the price goes, the buying doesn't stop. Usually, high prices cure high prices because people stop buying. But you can't stop buying the thing that keeps your civilization running. At 62.30, we are at the bottom of the unobtainium curve. The panic buying hasn't even fully started yet. Wait until Apple announces a delay in iPhone production because of silver shortages. Wait until the U.S. military invokes the Defense Production Act to secure silver for missiles. Then you will see what a real mania looks like. Now, let's talk about the second wave of this wealth transfer. If you can't buy physical silver because the refineries are halted, and you can't buy futures because the margins are too high, where does the money go? It goes to the source, the miners. For 10 years, silver miners have been the most hated sector on Wall Street. They were starved of capital. They were shorted by the banks. They traded at valuations that made no sense. You could buy a silver mine for less than the cash they had in the bank. But today, at $62.30 silver, the economics of mining have just turned into a lottery ticket. Let's do the math on a hypothetical miner. Let's call them Apex Silver. Apex Silver produces silver at an all-in sustaining cost of $20 an ounce. That covers fuel, labor, exploration, taxes, everything. At $25 silver, the old price, Apex made $5 profit per ounce. It was a tough business. They barely kept the lights on. But at $62.30 silver, their cost is still roughly $20. Their profit is now $42.30 per ounce. That is an 800% increase in free cash flow. Did their stock price go up 800% yet? No, because the market is slow. The market is stupid. The market is still wondering if this price is real. But once the quarterly earnings come out, once Apex Silver announces they've made more money in Q4 2025 than they made in the last 10 years combined, the stock chart will look like a vertical line. And here's the kicker. The refinery halt actually helps the miners. Why? Because the miners sit on the ore. If the refiners can't hedge, the miners become the strategic reserve. The industrial buyers, Tesla, Samsung, will come directly to Apex Silver. They will buy the mine, or they will buy a 50% stake in the mine.
Anyway, so that's what we've got. I got to call Alyssa. Again, that's where we're headed. They are buying. I know Tesla's already gone to the mines, and China's gone to the mines. I'm not quite sure what he's saying, but the miners are the idiots. They're giving it away too cheap, and they're hedging. But now we know. Thank God for it's. What our key thing is this is worthless, and you have all this demand, high demand, low supply, high price. And now we're finally seeing what we've been waiting for 4 or 5 years now is the supply gone through COMEX bullshit. Now we're getting a real physical, and that's why I say the physical price is nowhere near the spot. At 62, like I said, it's 600. I'm saying 10 times, and I'm conservative, 600. It'll probably be more because they're going to run out. The demand's there. And once people realize that silver is money, even if it isn't money, it's still the demand, and the supply is gone. And so you're still going to have an ounce of silver be worth $1,000. Like you said, rhodium. I don't have an ounce of rhodium. I don't even know what it is, but it went to 29,000. Where do you think silver's headed? It'll make 29,000 look like a nickel. Hold your silver. Please do not sell it. Please do not profit take at this price. Silver is going to the moon. Just hold it. If you need, sell a couple ounces here and there. Delay some prices. Keep your money to pay your bills. Don't try to sell your silver yet. I wouldn't sell it later, but if it gets to 29,000, yeah, maybe I'll sell you 5 ounces. But if somebody calls me for my silver the price is going to be $650, not 62, not 100, not 250. And that's I'm only going to give you 5 ounces. So Luke, if you're listening, you got your 5 boxes. So now you can stop bitching. You're finally at where you're at. Looks like could be a few bad weather games. We'll check the weather. Trump looks like he may make a play for the Venezuela oil reserves. Well, he can't because those are owned by Russia and China. So good play for it. But again, you got to understand, Trump talks, doesn't know what he's saying. He's like lives in a fantasy world. He doesn't get it. Oh, I'm going to end the Ukraine war in one day. Yeah, it's been a year and he still hasn't ended it. So he talks a good game to hear himself talk, but we shouldn't be in Venezuela. He wants war because we're broke. He thinks we're going to get out of it by going to these countries and stealing their gold and oil. And it ain't happening because Russia's beating us to it. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I gotta call that. And so that's really what's going on. So this is a very limited supply and a very high demand. And COMEX is broken, and now the physical is going to jump, and we're going to see $10 days, as I'm hoping. And but again, there's no downside risk. So he's kind of right, but you already have these companies going to the miners to buy it, and the miners are should be picky on what they sell it for. They shouldn't be selling it at 60. They should be selling it at 1,000 an ounce, because the Teslas or the Sylvanias or the Apples have to have it because they got to sell their products and they need silver to do it. The defense contractors. So these miners should be selling it well over 1,000, 2,000 an ounce, because that's it. You can't go to COMEX for it. That's why we bought it from the store. We're not going to be able. But however, when you do take your silver in to sell an ounce or two, he's going to give you spot because he can't get it either. So the game changes where he gives you 97% of spot to I'll give you 150% of spot. And again, spot is not physical. Spot is COMEX. The $63 spot, the real price is way up here, probably like he said, 29,000. It's 62. I don't know if it hit 29,000, but it certainly could. It's the same play as the rhodium, as is gold is the same play, because that'll be needed for money, because we're not going to survive with monopoly money, right? So keep that in mind. So now we're starting to see the play. So enjoy, sit back, relax, and do not profit take, please. Do not get back into worthless dollars. You don't want to play that game. Just sit back and relax and enjoy. And, we're all going to do very well. All right. And no risk in the portfolio. All right. www.teaserking.com if you want. Again, you can get all the football games through the Super Bowl. $200. I pick about 75%. And you can see the history of everything there. I give you the free plays. If you just want the bowl games in the college playoff and the locks, 100. If you just want the pros, 200. If you want everything through the Super Bowl, college playoffs, all the bowl games, and final 5 weeks of the pros, we'll bear week 15, 16, 17, 18, and the playoff weeks, $200. All right, www.teaserking.com. Enjoy. Go. If you can get some silver, get it now. You're not going to be able to get it soon. As you can see, production stopped. This whole system by the miners, they're a bunch of fucking idiots. That's all I can say. They're worried about shorting. They shouldn't be worried about shorting. It ain't going down. All right. Have a good day. Again, www.teaserking.com. Let's see what silver's at right now as we go. And where the hell am I? Okay. Now I'm expecting to see silver go $5-6 a day. 64.18. We're up 360. And again, this is spot. This is nowhere near reality. And gold 42.84. So look at gold jumping also. So we're finally going to get our $4,500 gold up to 5,000 to 10,000. Silver 64.18, up 361 today. I think you're going to see this throughout the rest of December, $3, $4, $5 ups a day. So we will be at 100 by Christmas. It's finally broken. You've got guys like this kind of explaining what I've explained for 5 years. The demand is huge. The supply is small. The price goes to the moon. And now they're finally catching up with us. Because again, we're 5 steps ahead of everybody. We know what's going to happen, and it's just waiting for them to catch up. And now it's catching up. COMEX is broken. These companies need the silver to do all their little bullshit, and we need silver for money. And now we understand it. All right, 64.24. We might see 65 at the end of it. But again, COMEX just keeps rolling. So what a happy time. All right, have a good day. Again, the football's out there. Your free pick is Denver. I think I gave 2 free picks. Yeah, Philadelphia, 24-0. You can play it as you want, and then Denver as the dog, and you can also play that under. So it's kind of a pick your poison playing these free picks. All right, have a good day. I will see you tomorrow. All right, take care.